that if you could redo your IPMAT preparation, what would you do differently? I would love if Nidhi and Pratham could answer.
Sure. So it's been quite a while since I wrote IPMAT. It's been nearly 3 years. And back then, because most of it was during COVID and most of it I was at home, I was looking for a lot of online resources in order to, like study better for IPM back then. I was aiming for IIM Indore's IPM program and a couple of other smaller ones as well, but that was my main goal at the time. And I was also writing other exams like IPMAT and related exams for the IPM program as well. But back then, I was convinced that I could self-learn. And while it's definitely possible for a lot of people, I don't think it's something that worked out well for me because I lacked a certain discipline that would have been, more prominent, more part of my daily study routine if I had taken coaching sessions or at least video sessions on a regular basis. So that's something I would definitely change.
And Pratham?
Actually, I did my preparation from IPM careers only. I got to know about the exam for like 2 months before the IPMAT exam, and then I joined the crash course. So I did my preparation. My score was well, but I failed to clear the verbal cutoff for the IPMAT Indore. And so yeah, definitely, if I had to go back and prepare myself again, I would give myself a lot more time, and I would prepare myself for verbal ability in a better way.
Okay, so Krati and Asmita, I would like to ask you that did you follow any specific revision strategy in the last month of your preparation for IPMAT?
Yeah, so hi. For me, I did not have a proper plan, and I think that was the biggest shortfall I had. So because we had a CUET exams and a lot of exams which just came in that year, because that year these exams and all these divisions of one exam of board and another of second board came in. So I wasn't really planned. So there was no specific plan I followed for revision. Whatever time I could get, I would just brush up the concepts.
We can't hear you, Krati.
Hello.
Yes.
My advice only will be to join some kind of forum or like a study group of sorts, because it might not be possible for you to keep on track with what you have planned for yourself, but it will be much easier if you have people working with you and studying towards the same goal. That helps a lot in cramming up revision sessions as well.
Okay, so tell me one thing, everyone. This is a question for everyone. Many students fear interviews. What was your interview like? Like, how did you prepare for your interview?
See, it was I didn't actually prepare for the interview because actually I didn't get the chance to sit for any of the IIM's interview. I only sat for the interview of TAPMI, and I gave it very casually in a very cool way, and it was not that difficult. So I just cleared it up.
Anyone?
It depends from college to college. Like the interview styles of different colleges is very different. So, for example, if you look at IIM, CRISE, they are more, towards like either the technical round. CRISE is more towards why you want to do a certain course or why are you going for this, stream of thought. And then there are certain interviews which just gets to know you as a student, as a person, like to see what kind of personality or a person they are incorporating into their environment. So symbiosis and TAPMI were a lot similar. They wanted to get to know you, your interest, your basically what you're passionate about. So it seriously depends. So I think there's a lot of research if you can do on a culture of a institute that gives you a lot of forward guidance about what kind of interview it will be.
Correct. Nidhi?
Yeah, so I gave quite a few interviews, and of course, I think the ones that stood out the most in terms of a BBA and IPM perspective is the one that I gave for Nalsar for their IPM program. I got in and decided not to go ahead with that, but throughout the interview process, either at Nalsar or even TAPMI, they ask you a lot of questions regarding yourself, your interests, your hobbies, and they also expect you to be a worldly person. So I think having a good knowledge of basically everything that's going on around you and just being a little opinionated to a certain extent about certain topics while being equally diplomatic is definitely a good way to go forward with any interview.
Yeah, I would actually agree with her. So a few interviews which actually stood out for me as well was Symbiosis, NMIMS, and TAPMI. They were more or less similar, but then there's this one particular thing. If someone is giving interview, you should know that you have to show your true self. So, for example, at TAPMI, we had in an interview we had 3 components, and all of them was very spontaneous. So it was not really technical, but at the same time, it was technical. As in, if you've done your 11th and 12th in a particular stream, you would be expected to know whatever you studied. But more than that, they're also interested in person, like what kind of person you are, what kind of culture you are, like how do you talk, and all of it. So I feel that was one thing which actually stood out from TAPMI interview.
Okay. Could you tell me one myth that should be busted about the IPMAT preparation? All of you. First, we'll start with Krati.
I think a lot of students get pressure that it's not doable or it's not achievable, which is like very. I feel like it's a myth and a hype that they have created that it's something unachievable. But I truly believe that if you actually put in the time, it's doable even if you start late. So I did my preparation like 1 or 2 weeks before, right? So like actually started cramming up 1 or 2 weeks before, like properly preparing, and it was doable. So I think that's one of the things. And the second thing which I would say is that the sectional cutoffs. Like people and students, like I did the same mistake. Like people tend to see like the overall cutoff, focus more on that, and they keep forgetting that sectional cutoff is not something you'll just get, right?
Mm.
You have to focus on that side as well. So I think to go section by section while preparing.
Perfect. Nidhi?
I'd actually agree with that point as well. So, the most difficult part about actually getting into the program, I wouldn't say is the exam itself. So while you do require a lot of preparation and you need to put in the time and effort, it's definitely a possibility and it's definitely very possible to clear the exam itself. The challenging part actually comes at the interview and the further rounds where you're looking at gems of people, they've picked out the cream of the population already. But yeah, the exam itself is actually not that difficult. There isn't a lot to fear. It's not physics or chemistry that you'll have to learn for 2 years beforehand. It's something that is definitely more logical, to study.
Asmita?
Yeah, so I think one of the things would be that you don't start towards the end. So I've seen a lot of people when even I was prepping, I thought that I would just complete my boards and I would complete the COET and all of it, and I'll just give it a shot towards the last goal and I'll kind of remember all the formulas and everything. But now I feel like it's actually a myth. You should divide your time every day, even if it's half an hour, but
Correct.
it should be strategic play you do and you study and all of it. So you shouldn't put everything for the last.
Disciplined studies. Like if
Yeah.
you even give 1 hour, 2 hour of
It's still
IPMAT
valid.
studies every day, that will work. Okay. And what about Pratham?
One myth about IPMAT that I would say I would like to break is that most of the candidates feel that IPMAT is easier to crack as compared to CAT. And that was one thing I was also feeling at that time. But later I realized that the probability of getting into IIM Indore through IPMAT is 0.75%, but it is around 2% by clearing CAT. So most of the candidates get depressed after not clearing IPMAT. So that's one thing I would like to break, that it is not easier to crack. It is tougher to crack
No.
IIMs through IPMAT.
Correct. And by that portion, you also have a lot of competition in comparison to CAT. Correct?
Yeah, because number of seats available per number of candidates creates a huge difference for everyone.
Agreed. Now let's
Yeah.
talk about your life at TAPMI University. Okay, so just tell me one thing. Be honest. What was your first impression of TAPMI? We'll let Nidhi and Asmita answer this question. Nidhi could start.
Okay. So my first impression was that it was a brand new program. So if you don't already know, we're part of the first batch at TAPMI Bengaluru. We're the first undergraduate batch at the university. And my first impression was, I was very optimistic back then, and I was all like, we're the flagship batch. And, but the reality of the situation started setting in soon enough that we have a lot of work to do to build up. We're the first batch. We have to create all the clubs. We have to pioneer everything. And because of that, we did build up a lot of leadership qualities amongst our batch. We started, mentoring the juniors. I started coming in later. But the fact that it has grown as much over the past 3 years is incredible. You have a lot of facilities that are available. A lot of clubs and committees are up and running. We have events being hosted. It's become quite active in a very short span of 3 years. And my initial impression was that this is definitely a place to be because of the way the program is structured, the uniqueness of the courses, the fact that I have the option of, I wanted to do economics before entering the BBA program here, but I also got to, a lot of exposure for economics as a subject as well. While at TAPMI, I chose that as one of my minors in my third year as well. And there's a lot of options that you have. So I assumed that it was like any other general BBA program and that it was far easier, but that is not the case. It does challenge you and in the best way possible.
Asmita?
Yeah, so for me, it was quite the opposite because for someone who was, I came from North India, like I came from Delhi, and for me to leave DU, which was one of my aims to get into while I was in 12th, it was kind of a tough decision for me to shift out completely and go to a place I never knew like how it's going to be for me. But then the curriculum and the conviction our dean had when he was actually telling us and guiding us and all of it put a lot of confidence. And the curriculum was really similar to a lot of IM curriculum. So it also gave one thought that, you'll be able to develop a lot of skills. And it's not just a tag which will go along ahead, but a lot of things which you have to learn over the journey. So even though starting it off, it was kind of skeptical, but then later on, it came to be a good decision though.
Perfect. Now I want Krati and Pratham to answer. Am I saying the right name? Pratham, right? I'm getting very flabbergasted because it's Pratham, Pratik, Pratimesh. I don't remember names. So yes, Pratham, I remember your name. You're in the list. High five to you. Okay, so I'm asking questions from Krati and Pratham. So what do you say? Like everyone talks about networking. So have you had any crazy industry exposure moments yet?
Yeah, fortunately, we both have been the part of the corporate engagement team at TAPMI.
Okay.
So we both have got a lot of chances to network with people across the industry. And we even have guest lectures, we even have conferences, we host them in our college only. So yeah, we have built a great network through our internships and these engagements among the industry professionals. And we have got the chance to interact with them and we get benefit from them as well.
That's great. That's great. Krati, I would like you to answer something different now. Any club societies or fests you say that the students, if they get admission in TAPMI, they shouldn't miss at all?
Oh, it's must have. So TAPMI broadly is basically very student run. So you have clubs, committees, there's like a distinction. And then you also have fest activity, a lot of happening. So at TAPMI overall year, we have three major events. So one is for networking, which was a current topic of discussion, which is the Global Leadership Conference, GLC. But instead of just viewing it as a networking event, that is, I think, the most highlight of each student's, year. Like the entire student community gets involved. We call off the guests. There are panel discussion, fireside chats. Then you get to talk with the industry gets in a round table panel, which we just started last year. So I think that's one of the most hyped event which every student is waiting for. To get volunteer themselves to talk to those industry guests to connect them later. Second and third one will be the cultural fest, which is the Kala. So that's our annual fest, which happens in February. And the third one is basically we are hosting the management fest, Adhikshana. So these three are the major student-run events. And then apart from this is like for the entire community. Apart from this, each clubs and committee keeps hosting their own events, which every other student takes part in.
Okay, so now it's for everyone. Give me a glimpse of your day or your life at at TAPMI University. Like a day, like everything. You wake up, you go to your mess, how's the food and everything.
I don't think anyone can answer that in a structured way because each day we ourselves don't know what is going to happen that day. Right. So over here, our schedule is like any other B school. It's very, at the last minute. So in any given day, you could have classes from 8 to 8, or you could just have one class after your lunch break.
Okay.
Right. So it totally depends upon, especially when you get into third year, totally depends upon what kind of activities you are engaged in, what kinds of clubs you are part of, what kind of electives you have chosen, and industry guests or whatever thing you choose to partake in.
Is there anything anyone else wants to say, or do you all agree to Krati?
I think that's actually how the day of every TAPMI student looks like. We don't know what are we going to wake up to? What is the next challenge? What is our timetable going to look like? What is the project? Till when are we going to sleep? What time are we going to wake up for the project? Because it's group project. So you don't know who is available, with everyone having different electives as well.
So there is nothing, is it timetable? There is no timetable where you go through a timetable and understand that this time to this time there's classes, we have to attend classes and all. That's not the case here.
No.
It's pretty dynamic of a student life. Okay. Okay. What's one thing that aspirants should know about the TAPMI University that they don't know? Something Nidhi and Pratham could answer.
Something that aspirants don't know. Well, first of all, the undergraduate program is located at Bangalore. We have a TAPMI Manipal campus as well, and we've had people that went to Manipal thinking that the program is there, and then they had to fly back to Bangalore because this is where the program is located. And I think, eventually Bangalore becomes a huge part of the program as well. I'm a day scholar. I've lived here my whole life, so it's pretty dynamic if you know what to do, when to do it. Another thing that people don't know about TAPMI, I'm not sure.
Okay, then Pratham can take the mic and then pass it on to you when you remember.
Yeah, I can build on my experience because one thing that aspirants should know about TAPMI is the legacy of TAPMI, because it has been a very old institute, and it has a 40 years old stellar experience in placements and making industry leaders. So me myself, when I got to know about it, I was not very aware of all this, and I got to know about this over a period of time. So I feel like aspirants should research about it and get to know well about the university before getting into it.
Okay, now it's the rapid question round. I would want all your mics on so that you can answer like it's a one-word answer or something. So it'll be fun. So the first question here is, if your IPMAT prep journey was a movie, what would it be called? Start with Nidhi.
It was a movie,
Yes.
some version of Three Idiots, I'd say.
Okay. And Pratham?
Dhamal.
Dhamal. Okay, because it's very crazy.
Yeah,
It's,
I was actually not planning to do that. So it was a very sudden decision for
From
me.
to decision, yes.
Yeah.
Dhamal ढूंढना है.
Yeah.
Correct. Krati?
Random paths we take.
Hmm?
Random paths we take.
Okay.
Very random choice to do.
Okay. Asmita?
I would also say Three Idiots because it's really crazy. You would want to do something else, but then you end up doing something else.
Okay. If you could go back in time, what advice would you give to your past self before the exam? And this can't be more than 10 seconds. So your 10 seconds are counting. We'll start with Krati.
Research, research, and research. Like, look at what kind of colleges you want to apply for in the first place. Like, exam is not the only thing.
Yeah.
Did you take my name?
Asmita, I told Asmita to answer.
Oh, yeah, for me, it will be calm, don't overthink. Everything's going to fall into place.
And what about you, Pratham?
One thing I would like to tell myself is that you have your whole life to watch movies and web series. Don't watch them now.
Correct. I would want everyone, each of our viewers, to listen to this very carefully. Okay. Now, Nidhi?
Definitely shortlist, aim high. It's all right. It's okay. You don't have to fret. You don't have to panic. It's fine. It's okay to aim high.
And the last question of today's session is, where would you go for a tapri wali chai near TAPMI?
You have a lot of places. You actually have a lot of places near the
I
campus.
would love to hear basic rants about food and chai and coffee. Chalo, start. Now we are giving the students the real thing. They are going to watch this and only this. My retention graph is going to go high.
Okay, so so when you come out of the campus, you can go right and you can go to Chai Adda, or you can go to left. There is a Siri eatery, so you can go anywhere. You can find some place to eat and have a cup of tea. And even there are facilities inside the campus as well. Yeah, and personally, I come from North India, so I have no shame in saying that the food in South India is like, I don't feel like eating it a lot of times. So yeah, I would say that. So that's my opinion. But yeah, otherwise everything is great.
Nidhi is irritated.
Yeah.
On to Nidhi.
I'm from down south. So for me, coffee and like Dashni food is it. Like a good dosa on a good day and like good coffee. So I know you're talking about Tapri Chai, but there is a Hati Coffee inside campus and it's a pretty popular chain. I always go there and get a coffee, even if it's a
I
long
am so sorry, Nidhi. I'm a chai person. I couldn't understand your emotions about coffee. I love a filter coffee. I love filter coffee. Any more things Krati and Asmita wants to add? कुछ तो पसंद होगा, कुछ नहीं भी पसंद हो सकता है, जैसे मेस का खाना, everyday गोभी की सब्जी.
Yes, absolutely. Mess ka khana, we can't compare what we get at our homes in North India and the food we get in the mess. We have to stand in the long queue because everybody wants, it's just, there's some specific days jahan pe bahut acha khana banta hai. And then everybody's there, like it'll be line of 15, 20 people and then you have to wait. But it's not that bad. I mean, the campus is going really good. We are getting, like she said, we have Hatikapi, we have a lot of options inside. But then if you're a person, like you prefer chai and you prefer kulhad wali chai, that you cannot get inside. So for that, as Pratham said, we have a lot of left and rights to go. We have Siri, Chai Adda, Ohms, and you will see all the TAPMI students sitting there after the classes, tired to have momos.
Wow, perfect. And Krati?
Yes, same thing. So basically, you decide the place to eat based on the menu which you have on that day. And like basically, after any presentation or any hectic schedule, you'll find the entire TAPMI, entire batch and students on these tapris and areas. So a lot of hangout places.
In case I plan on just visiting TAPMI someday, and I meet you guys there, I know where to go, where to take you, and you'll know where to take me because Jai is love.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely, we'll meet soon in case I decide to join you all for just a brief kind of a vlog thing very soon. So it'll be fun. I'll remember the name Pratham. I'll remember Nidhi, Krati, and Asmita for sure. And I'll see you. Until then, take care and we'll see each other. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.